I began the whole premise with this doesn't make sense. Don't come at me with sense, Brett. I wasn't doing this to make sense. I wanted to fantasize
This is
about
not
a
even
lineup.
that's not even like a hot take. That's like a
Made up
something.
bullshit. I framed it perfectly. I don't understand why you're mad at me. Like I said, yo, I'm about to say some bullshit. And then when I said it, you're like, wow, bro, you just said some bullshit. I told you. I told you that's what I was about to
My
say.
bad, my bad. I didn't know. I didn't know when you said my bad, bro. I thought it was like it's wacky, but it could make sense. That doesn't make
I
sense.
never even claimed it would make sense.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're already off to a great start. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's another great episode of Excellence. I'm the unforgettable one himself, Mr. Brett Carroll. And Charles, he's not even daydreaming today. I don't know what he's on today, but we're just two guys that clearly love BSing at work. Um, this is our annual NBA offseason pod. This one's kind of different because the Nets should be, no matter how we are on the fence about this, they should be major players in the offseason. So I guess the first half we'll talk about that, and then the second half we'll talk about all the other crazy shenanigans that could go down this offseason. Like the NBA is king at this, already setting up itself for a great offseason full of drama, full of what ifs and maybes and possibilities. And this is how they make their money because fools like us love this stuff. And we're going to talk about it. And it's great for everybody because, again, the finals are going on right now. And nobody's worried about the finals unless you're a Heat fan or a Denver fan. We're already looking towards the summer.
Well, we wanted to do a Nets pod before the finals happened, and just my schedule was put simply fucked. So, now we're here and the finals are ongoing. At the time of recording, it's a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, game 4 was last night. Yep.
Yeah. So, and
I'm
Brett's
watching.
right. Like, I'm one of the few people that wasn't angry at the finals. I've just been one of those people that, like, I haven't been able to catch the full game. And then I'm one of those people that either see all the highlights after the fact or I realize the game's going on. And it's the fourth quarter. I think it was game 2. I caught the end of, and I was like, in good times. I think that's the Heat's only win, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
right. So, and props to Jimmy Butler, props to Joker. Joker's legitimate. Like exactly, it's funny because I feel like last time I was on here with you, I was saying he needs to win to validate those MVPs, and he's to me, and like I'm not reneging on that. I'm saying, yo, like guess what? If he wins this ring, people are mad because he's the first person in like NBA history to have that 30, 20, 10 triple double in the finals. Like, give this dude his flowers. Like if he wins this ring, and the stats say he's top 15 all time, well, guess what? We got to start doing adjusting at least the top 20 of the list.
That's true.
I don't get it. I think there's still that anti-Euro sentiment. Like, but you had a good point earlier off wax. You compared him to Tim Duncan. I feel like that's an apt comparison. Um, Part of Tim Duncan was he went to Wake Forest and he looked boring. The other part was he still was an international player at the end of the day. So I just feel like if Tim Duncan was from Harlem or something, where he had a history of playing
Well,
at
no,
Rucker Park, you just have a different feeling about him.
they just look boring. Like, even like so, I've watched all the games, right? And even last night, I'm watching, and he literally this is how he runs. Just
Oh no, we can point out the people that are real Tim Duncan fans that respect the game, and they can say what you just said, right? But if they're like, hey man, it's nice, you know what I mean? Like that's what you want them to play like type of shit, right? I respect those fans. It's the fans that were fans of the Spurs that hate on Jokic. If you were indifferent towards the Spurs or depending on who they were facing, this ain't for you. We all have some friends, at least out of our fan friends, that were like, I like the Spurs. They play basketball right. And if they're not cheering for this finals, like and not caring who wins, they're frauds. Because these are two teams that are, when it comes to team ball and coaching and all that fundamental shit that people say they want, here's your finals. And at least on game 1 and the initial reception to these finals, the NBA saw good ratings and a good return. So props to everybody backing up what they were
no,
saying
I think the
during
ratings
the
have. I think
superstar
the
era.
ratings have been good, which is good. Yeah, I just think it's the Tim Duncan effect where he doesn't look like a dominant basketball player. So when you're watching him, you're like, how is he doing this? Because he doesn't look athletic at all. He looks like a lumbering lard, just literally just huffing and puffing up and down the court. But yet he's just schooling dudes, and it's like weird. It's
It's
very
because he's a
weird.
center. That's it. It's just that, you already said it. He looks It doesn't look right anymore, which is hilarious because 20, 30 years ago, this is exactly the dominance you wanted to see from the position type of thing. You know what I mean? Like everything going through the center.
But like Shaq wowed you. Shaq, like you can tell.
Shaq is the most dominant player of all time.
Yeah, I guess my point is even watching Bam Adebayo, whatever his name is, he looks just so much more athletic and so much more wow than the Joker does, but he's not doing nearly as much as the Joker is doing. So like he had like a chase down block last night that looked amazing. So he looks the part. Joker just doesn't look the part. And like, so even I who appreciate great basketball, even I'm sitting there and watching this, I'm like, yo, how is this dude?
It's great because it's at least we can point out the frauds that claim they don't like style over substance. Because if they're hating on Joker, you ain't like don't get me wrong.
There's gonna hate on Joker. I guarantee you they're the same people that hated on the Spurs back in the day. Because that's really what it is.
It's Venn diagrams. The only one that's kind of like the weird pick them out are because of where we live. The Knicks fan that likes the 90s style of hoops that doesn't necessarily think Joker's the greatest thing ever. They don't think he sucks. They're just annoyed by his presence this far in the postseason.
They're already talking about he the greatest center ever, and people just get mad when you get caught up in the moment like that. I get that too. It's like, hey man, like, I know he's won some MVPs. Again, I still don't think he should have won last year, but that's just me. I know he's won some MVPs and he's about to win a ring, but like, let's chill out on the greatest center, especially when we're talking about centers. When we're talking about centers, that is not something that you could just say like.
I do find it hilarious because I've we're on social media and shit. I've said the dominant line about Shaq my whole life. Like, I'm a big LeBron fan. Call him the GOAT and all that. So I'm saying Shaq is the most dominant player I've ever seen. People are like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? All I got to do is say, how old are you? Because if you don't remember this as like fact, objective fact, I just know you're a little bit younger and you actually didn't watch Shaq definitely you didn't see him on the Magic, and you don't remember Kobe and Shaq,
right?
Because the Kobe fans and the Kobe stands today, they defend him in that first three-peat like we're calling him trash. No. We're just saying he was not the best player when it was Kobe and Shaq. Like, right. It wasn't. The argument was only because there was a contingent of fans, like there always is, saying, I think this guy's better because his ceiling's higher, which actually translates to he's not better now.
Right.
So I'm just saying that because like I seen Shaq, I seen LeBron. I'm not judging Giannis on LeBron, and I'm not judging Jokic on Shaq. Just like I didn't judge Steph Curry like to Isaiah Thomas and other players. I didn't judge Steph Curry to Kobe or Tony Parker when it comes to the guards that preceded him. We didn't you know what I mean? I just feel like it's unfair. It's a way to criticize, and it's an overcorrection of what you said. Live it in the moment. Where you just revert to today sucks because it's new. And I don't like the fact that the Denver Nuggets, an ABA team that shouldn't have made it, is now in the finals. What's happened to my great league, yada, yada, yada. But we're here to talk.
Don't get me started on that now.
About our beloved team.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? Because me and Brett are kind of, we're saying two different, we're going to be arguing, air quotes, debating what we think is the better course just because we're leaning slightly in opposite directions. Because Brett, to give the game away, if we get Dame Lillard and there's it's a good trade, Brett's not going to be mad. If we blow it up and I have 50,000 picks for the next 5 years, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, there's no way we're going to be able to compete in my lifetime ever again. So what we're pretty much arguing is what is the better course for the team mixed with is tanking realistic because we don't have our picks and is trading for a 32-year-old point guard realistic because will we be anywhere else regardless in 2-3 years?
Right. So in order to do that, we got to go back a little bit because and it's funny, me and you talk about this like damn near every day, but we haven't.
We're Nets fans.
We haven't really talked about this on the pod. I feel really vindicated in saying this is exactly why you don't trade away those guys in the middle of the season. Again, I'm gonna shorten it because again, me and Charles have literally argued this per nauseum ever since when was the trade? January.
Doesn't matter.
So neither one of us want to go through this again. But basically,
look at our face change. We both looked at each other like I ain't fucking doing this.
Because trust me, we will be here all day. So basically, my thing is one, this is why you play it out because you never know. Again, the Heat have gotten to the finals when that could have been us, right? That's all you need when you're in the playoffs.
And real talk, I said it to Brett in real life, so let me say it on the pod because I know we argue this on the pod. He's 100% right in that regard. I still, think trade him because we got a good return. We were nowhere near as bad as Brett predicted we were going to be either. So there's this middle ground where Brett's like, we're still a good team. Are we good enough to compete? No, but like we're still good enough to have like something. And I'm saying, shit, if we had those two superstars, we would have had a better path because people got hurt and we could have been that team benefiting. But also at the same time, what I said to him off wax, I'm just saying here because they're out, they're healthy, and they're good. Health, like you know what I mean. Like those could have been us with the injuries too. Like this is one of those games where it's like, yeah, they got hurt in this timeline, but if we stayed together, we could have been got to the conference finals. And if somebody got hurt, it's just all over. So we're not living in that. We're not trying to re-legislate the whole last season. We're literally picking up where we are now, trying to figure out what the best path forward is for the Brooklyn Nets. And me and Brett are both like, I mean, like there's a there's a realism to what we're saying right now.
And also, but here's my other point too. The reason why you don't trade them in the middle of the season, because I really do think the Nets are in a bad position right now in terms of they got to make a really impossible decision. Do we keep this team together and go for it, or do we blow it up? Whereas had you kept these guys, and let's just say we lost in the conference finals, at least we all know what the direction would have been. Move them, and go from there. And you would have had a better understanding of what you want to do going into next season. Now you're kind of stuck in this crossroads because I don't think anybody thought that Mikal Bridges was going to play as well as he did. So now it's, well, hold on. Do we get rid of a guy like this that we think we can build around, or do we break it down? And again, even in my scenario of breaking it down, that's going to be a lot harder than it sounds, because to me, they have two choices. Do you trade Mikal Bridges for a bunch of picks, or do you try to get a high draft pick? So again, let's talk about Portland because that's the elephant in the room. Dame Lillard only wants to come to Brooklyn because he really likes Mikal Bridges and he wants to play with Mikal Bridges. But if you're the Nets, you could turn that into something for you and say, well, listen, if we're trying to break it down and Portland doesn't want to get rid of Dame, and from everything we're hearing, Portland's trying desperately to keep Dame, we can trade them Mikal Bridges and maybe get the third pick in the draft. And if
I don't think they're really trying to keep him. That's just where me and you differ in this. Kind of like last year when I was just saying it's over, man. You know what I mean? Like that same.
I agree with you that they shouldn't be trying to keep him.
No. I think that's all dressing. I think that's them trying to make up a price because they know they're going to get rid of them, and they're just trying to bring more in. Because what I'm seeing now, right before we popped on, you know what I do? Because if I'm looking at the rumors last week are meaningless, might as well look at the newest reports, right? And they're pretty much all the same reports that they were when Dame was sitting courtside at Nets games. But the trade package is centered around Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris. I'm going to throw in Cam Thomas because I don't see any scenario where, I'm just saying, if we're going to trade for Dame Lillard, I don't see a scenario where they don't get Cam Thomas. Right. And then 2 picks but it's mostly Spencer Dinwiddie, Harris, and 2 picks to get.
That's a horrible trade for the Blazers.
I mean, depends on the picks.
No, it's a horrible trade for the Blazers. I mean, okay. But see, my thing is, we've been hearing rumors.
Wait, hold on. You saying it's a horrible trade for the Blazers? What's the better option for them? Like I'm being serious. What is the trade? Who are we outbidding?
Nobody, but that's my point. That's what I'm trying to get to. So either way, I think the Nets are kind of in a lose here. So one, I've been hearing all these rumors about how they're trying to get players into Portland. They're willing to trade a number 3 pick. They're willing to trade either Sharp or Simmons, two of their young players, to try to get some better talent. So the other trade rumor was him to Boston for Jaylen Brown, but now they're talking about, well, what if Portland trade for Jaylen Brown without giving up Dame Lillard? If they give Boston a 3rd pick in the draft and some of their young players, would that make sense for both teams? And that way you have Jaylen Brown and Damian Lillard on the same team. So I do think Portland is going to at least consider heavily trying to see if they can do
Absolutely.
one.
I would not turn that down if I was Portland and I wanted to keep Dame. I just don't. I think that's all BS. I think because if the reports are two picks, right, that means our side relatively is leaking this, right? This is the offer. This is what we'd offer because the Heat would center around Tyler Hero and pieces.
Mhm.
Like because he said that's what Dame said. Heat Nets. So the Celtics, if they offer Jaylen Brown, me as an objective fan, I mean, go, you know what I mean? Like, I look at him like, are you going to take that? Like, you might as well take that. But if it's just between us and the Heat, we got more picks to spend. And if it comes down to two picks or two picks and two swaps or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? I forget the machinations of our picks right now. And we'd be here way too long playing GM, trying to match money and shit. We're speaking generally. It's Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, because those are expiring contracts. That's what's the value in them. That and they can still play. They're not garbage. So those two players, Cam Thomas, the young player, 2, 3 picks for Dame Lillard. I don't feel
I
like
think I think Ben Simmons would have to be part of the trade for money purposes. No,
no. Spencer Dinwiddie and Harris are making damn near
the
like
same. Okay,
what like you put them
I
together.
didn't know that. I
That's
didn't know
Dame's
that.
contracting. Like damn, they're getting paid. Don't let them fool you.
No, no,
Spencer
I didn't know. I didn't know. Okay, but no, but the
because
point
remember Spencer got paid when he left, and now he got traded back. That's the same contract he got
right,
paid.
right, right. Okay, so the point I'm making is if you're the Nets and he really wants to play with Mikal Bridges, you could do like, hey, Mikal Bridges for the third pick and see if Portland will take that. If they ask for more than that, then that's a little dicey, in my opinion.
So you would be down to trade Mikal Bridges for just the third pick.
If it's straight up, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Really? Because
Absolutely.
but I'm saying really not because I understand what the fuck makes NBA GMs do what they do. Because me, you, our boy Scurbs in the chats, Gary, all of them, say the same thing after a certain point. Now, Gober got 4 picks, so because the market means nothing, and anything could happen. And I bring that up because we were offered 4 picks from the
What
Grizzlies.
and that's exactly where I'm going with you. So would you rather do that? Would you get 4 picks from the Grizzlies or some other? Because
4 picks in Ja Morant. Give me 4 picks in Ja Morant.
right, but well, I think I
Would
think
you
all.
take Ja Morant? Like, I'm being serious. Like,
I
okay,
mean, of course.
okay.
Now,
I'm just curious. I want to know because like I think the Ja Morant thing, yeah, he's a fucking idiot. But
but I don't
as
think
far as
Memphis.
what he did, yeah, it's stupid. But we live in America. There's
Yeah,
guns everywhere. Like I don't understand how this is the most outrageous thing. Like people literally die all the time.
yeah, I get the outrage. He's it's the Deshaun Watson thing. You're just being stupid.
No, I get being stupid, but people are acting like he actually shot somebody on camera.
no, we're acting like, bro, you keep doing this, and we're afraid we're gonna get breaking news. You actually shot somebody. Like, because have you heard the other new, like, not just the video stuff? Did you hear about the Pacers incident and all some of the other stuff that's been going on?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Oh, see, yeah, you don't know. Like, this dude's really been like trying to act like he's freaking Suge Knight out here, and it's like, bro, what are you doing? And I say that, and I'm saying that knowing Suge Knight, like seriously.
Well, you randomly said that to me when it was like, it's like, I don't know what's your fascination with. I'm like, fascination with Suge Knight? Where'd that come from? You just like he's the devil, and I said his name too many times. You're like, you're evoking that energy around here. I don't need that in my life. And I was just like, what are you talking? Like, you like death? I'm like, it's not a pentagram, dude. Like Suge Knight saying Suge Knight 3 times in the laptop. He's not gonna pop out and just slap you. Like, what would you do
No,
if the door just swung open? All you saw was a red suit.
I would curse you for the rest of your life. I'm like,
You
you know
just
what?
scream like, I hate you.
But no, so the point of we're getting off topic. I already know. The point I'm making is that's the option. So if you're going to trade Mikal Bridges, do you do it for like a top 5 pick or do you do it for multiple picks, knowing that the multiple picks are probably coming from contenders? Like I'm thinking all the M teams, like the Memphises of the world, the Milwaukee's of the world, the Miami's of the world, maybe even the Minnesotas of the world. Well, Minnesota don't have any picks, but those 3 teams, they would call and say, hey, listen, we'll give you a bunch of picks from Mikal Bridges. Would you rather do that knowing that those are going to be later picks, like late 20s, early
But the
30s?
counter to your point of because you think we're not good enough adding Dame Lillard I'll use your argument you made this season. Like in the East, how big of a difference could Dame Lillard have made? We were losing in crunch time, competing the whole game. You know what I
No,
mean? Like he's
but that's
exactly
why.
what we
Well,
need.
that's why I agree that if we can get Dame Lillard, I'm cool with it. I'm saying if Portland's not trying to trade him and they're gun ho on trying to just one last run with him, would you rather trade Mikal Bridges for the third pick in the draft, or would you rather get multiple picks for him? Because at the end of the day, I think now again for me, if it's a straight up trade him for the number 3 picks, I'm doing that in a heartbeat, and I'm not even thinking about it.
I don't know
I
because
I think it might cost a little bit more than that, which is why it makes me hesitant.
I wouldn't do it just because this draft, as somebody that doesn't overhype drafts when at least when my team is not a basement dweller, right? Because that's all you got to look forward to when they're completely in the basement. But this isn't as hyped of a draft as previously in my life. I'll just say like the hype around. I don't.
The hype around
We
Scoot.
ain't getting the Spurs got him like that. The hype's
No,
gone.
Scoot Henderson. Scoot Henderson. So Scoot Henderson's supposed to be the second pick in the draft. He's probably going to go third because he's a point guard and Charlotte already had LaMelo Ball. So they'll probably take Brandon Miller second. Scoot Henderson's probably going to go third. Scoot Henderson, there's a lot of hype around him. And so if you think he's going to be a superstar point guard, like,
No, yeah,
why not?
superstar point guard is like superstar quarterback. So
Yeah, like if you,
I get that, but how many times? I'm just saying, like literally, in the last 10 years, not even our lives, the last 10 years, has there been that prospect that me and you do have the fun on pod? Go back 5 years, be like, oh, remember when we all thought he was going to be good?
no, true. But my thing, I guess my thing is when we don't own our picks. So if you can get a cheap top 3 pick, take that. You know what I
No,
mean?
yeah, it's if those are the two options, Dame Lillard or go bet on the rookie. I'm with you. I guess I lean towards bet on the rookie because then you got a homegrown dude. But if you don't think that rookie is that, and you think Dame,
But that's why. But no, that's what I'm saying. The premise I'm going off is if Portland isn't trying to trade him. If Portland is trying to trade him, then I agree with you. I think we have the best package besides Boston to go get him.
I don't know if
Especially
that Boston one's real, but who knows with Boston? I'm just being
well,
serious.
but also he would have to want to go to Boston. If he's gun ho and saying like, "Yo, bro, I'd rather go to Brooklyn," then I think we'll get him, and I'm fine with that. But the point I'm making is if Portland is gun ho, like no, we want it. He doesn't really want to leave. We think we can put one last gun ho try to make him to help win him a championship, and so therefore we can't get him. Then our option is to break it down. Like that's to me that those are Brooklyn's two options: either go all out for Dame Lillard, and by all out I mean like go get him. Because you're not going to gut the whole team to go get Dame Lillard, because then you'll be in the same position that Portland's in. So either go get Dame Lillard or break it down to the studs. My fear is I think they're going to try to build around Mikal and what's the other dude's name that we got from Phoenix?
Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson. I think they're gonna because they've already said reports that they're gonna re-sign him and everything else. I just think that's a bad idea. I think if you can't get Dame, there's nobody else that you're probably gonna get that can come in and make us a contender. I think you break it down. I really do. I really
Yeah,
do.
but signing him is part of breaking it down.
Oh no, yeah. If you're gonna re-sign him to trade him later, yes. But my thing is, I think because they've also made it clear like they don't want to trade Mikal Bridges like at all. So my thing
Yeah,
is,
so you keeping the twins together as they're called, and you want to bring in Dame Lillard. Like that seems to be
right.
that's
And my
what it's
thing is,
pointing to. That's really what like if he wasn't Dame Lillard, he was just any other point guard in our area, in the New York market, we'd be talking like this is a done deal. It's just because it's Dame Lillard that we're kind of like, are we?
well, no, I think because Portland has made it clear they're not trying to trade him. That's what I'm saying. If he comes out and says, "Yo, I'm done here. I've given everything I've got. It's time to move on. I want to go to Brooklyn." I think we will get him, and I'll be okay with that. I just don't know if Portland is willing to give up on him, because they know he's their moneymaker. Like people aren't going to show up if he's not there. So and at the end of the day, this is about making money. So I think they rather go try to do one last hoorah and try to win a title.
But if that's their point too, to your point about if they can get a new superstar point guard in the draft.
Well, I agree they should get rid of Dame Lillard. The question is, I'm not running the Portland Trailblazers, so you know what I mean. Like it's what they're gonna want to do. Like, he's under contract; they have no obligation to trade him. So it's one of those things. Like if they want to say no, we want to see this thing to the end. And I don't think Dame Lillard's the type of person to say, no, screw you guys, I'm gone. Right? Like he's hinted at it, which is a lot more than he's done in the past. So obviously he's like trying to hint at him, like, yeah, like if y'all
I
really
think it's over. I really do. I think this is over. Just like I said it to you about our team. I'm saying he, like what you said, Dame Miller's moving different, but let's switch it up a little bit because we and you are kind of we said what we said in regards to the scenarios, right? So what's the ceiling? Hypothetically, our team at full health, given the trade scenarios we've put forth already, would be Dame Lillard, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. I'm gonna say it, fucking Ben Simmons, and then Nick Claxton.
I think the ceiling is we're Cleveland. I think we're a good team that probably won't win anything, but if things went our way in terms of like injuries or bad calls or whatever, we could take advantage and make a run.
Yeah, like so we have we contender light.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
what they call dark horse, basically.
yeah, but like it would be a flop if we were like a play-in team. Like we're in that we're not in purgatory.
Yeah, every year I think we would be in that 4 to 6 range. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like that'd be the prime spot, just period, for that team. And
the only reason why I'm okay with that is because again, with a Dame Lillard, you are an injury away from making a deep run. You know what I mean? Like Cleveland, the Knicks, they're kind of in no man's land because we know they're probably a second round at best team every year. And I don't think they have a chance in hell at doing anything. We would be like, so I think, so if we have the 7-11 team, right, I think we're like a half a tier below that, where we know that 7-11 team, if everything goes right, we could have made a run. This team is like, we kind of really need everything to go right. And then there's like Cleveland and the Knicks, where it's like they need like a whole bunch of stuff to go right for them
I just
to.
feel like, and why you brought up the Knicks, I want to give them like Jalen Brunson at this point is underrated. That dude had a great season. Like as
Yeah,
far as point guards go,
no, they're good, but that's what I'm saying.
my
They're
boy,
a
my
good
boy
team.
Spurs made a good point, man, because he said you guys can get hype about Dame Lillard, but he reminds me of Chris Paul. A lot of hype, not a lot of winning, and he feels the type of way because he finally got the type of point guard he's wanted, a dog, but that is a dog. You know what I mean? Like no one, the Mavs let him walk. He's exactly what the Mavs needed.
I don't think that's fair to call him Chris Paul because Dame Lillard has usually shown up in the playoffs. Chris Paul has not all the time.
Speaking of Chris Paul, is he a free agent now or not? Like, what the fuck is
Well,
going
yeah,
on?
we'll get into that in a second. But yeah,
See,
I think,
we would know what we're getting into if someone made a fucking presentation, not saying any names, Brett.
but yeah, like I think our ceiling is dark horse contender. Now, granted, let's say James Harden walks and Philly doesn't replace him, that really puts us in dark horse contention status. So
Look at the little smirk he had when he said that. He's like, if James Harden walks and Philly doesn't have anything.
no, I'm being serious. If James Harden walks and they don't replace him with anybody, then yes, that definitely
Do
helps
you
us
think James Harden has the same amount of fans or less fans than he had 4 years ago?
less for sure.
Less?
Yeah, without question.
It's because great point guard. Like he's a great point guard. I've never met a dude.
None of this, brother. None of
Like
this.
I don't even want to say the heart thing. It's like he
It's
moved.
it's this and this. It's a mentality. There's some people got to understand, right? Just like on the other side of this, and this is what frustrates me with fans. There's some teams that do not care about winning. Like we got to remember, these are billionaires and these are their playthings. These are literal, just like you would say, I got to pick up a second job or something shit like this. This is they're saying like, I need another stream of income. Let me go own a freaking NBA team because I don't have to do anything and I'll make billions of dollars a year. So people got to understand that, right? And just like there's teams that don't care about winning, there are players that don't care about winning. There are players that say, you know what? I get to wake up every day and play a kid's game and make multi-millions of dollars. So yes, as fans, we're passionate about it. So we want our team to always want to win and we want our players to always want to win. That's just not the case. There's some players that don't care. They want to have the limelight. They want to have the like, and I'll bring up a guy that I love, Cam Newton. Cam Newton, that was his problem. He admitted, yo, I want the superstar. I want the fame. He never talked about winning. He always talked about the glamour and glitz that come with being a superstar. He never talked about the dedication to being great. And which is why now when his athleticism has diminished, he can't even find a job and he's wondering why. It's like, bro, because you never put in the work to be the great player that we all knew you could have been. Same with James Harden. James Harden is so naturally gifted that he can roll out of bed 50 pounds overweight and be the best point guard in the league. But he doesn't care about being great. His thing is, I'm naturally great. I naturally can just put up superstar numbers, which means I'm always going to get paid like a superstar, which means I can always live the superstar lifestyle that I want to live. I don't care about being great. And so that's going to frustrate some fans, but fans got to understand that's the type of dude you're getting. He does not care about being great. Now, unlike Cam Newton, he's smart enough not to say that. Cam was so bold that he would say that stuff out loud. James Harden is smart enough not to know that.
You know what I always thought Cam was?
What?
Like in regards to like an equivalent in the NBA. Well, he predates Cam a little bit, but Melo.
Yep.
They seem like you guys know I'm a big A Song of Ice and Fire nerd. In that story, and you know from the show and how they did the history and shit, there's always characters that parallel other characters. They're pretty much the same person but on a different path. And I just feel like they're the same person. They have very similar characteristics. They carry themselves the same. They're dudes that got coded racial criticisms that made their haters be like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, and that's the best way I can say it, because the
shout
fans,
out to Melo, by the way. Great, at the end of the day, Hall of Fame career.
Oh, we got to do a whole Melo pod. If anyone's thinking why I'm going to gloss over this, is because we could do a whole pod on Melo. We will do a whole pod on Melo because he's one of my favorite players of all time. I'm jealous that he chose the Knicks over the Nets, because look how much he loves the Knicks. On some real shit. Like we have that. The closest thing we have in the Brooklyn era to somebody like that would have been Joe Johnson, both number sevens. I always had fun talking shit to Knicks fans, saying my number 7 is the better one, because Joe Johnson made the playoffs a lot more in New York.
Shout out to Joe.
But with that being said, Melo, man, he got disrespected the last couple of years, but at the same time, he never adjusted his game. So it's a mixture of both. He just carried himself better than like Allen Iverson fell off a cliff. For people that like really don't remember, because he was great and then he just wasn't, and he was gone before we all had a chance to deal with our own sports mortalities, because we thought he was going to be around a lot longer. And I say that just because Melo was around a lot longer. When he got out of New York, people said his career was over, and when he wasn't signed like 2 seasons ago, just fucking disrespectful. Like me and you were talking like we didn't even need him. But like, damn, we should just sign him because everyone else is stupid. Like,
right, he could have helped.
Yeah, for real. Like, I don't get like there was no reason.
He still probably give you like 12 points off the bench a game. Like, why would you not want that? You know what I mean?
Bro,
like,
on bad teams, you know why they didn't want him? Because the bad teams that could have just gave him minutes and filled seats, they might have started winning games when they were trying to tank. Because that was the problem with Melo. He just wasn't LeBron. But anyway, we'll talk more about Melo on the Melo pod.
There's certain guys, and James Harden's one of those guys. But to the point you're making, that's why I'm okay with getting Dame Lillard, because I'm seeing the East. Boston might be breaking up. Philly might be breaking up. So if you get a guy like Dame Lillard, you could mess around and get to the finals just off the strength of, well, if the only team you're worried about is Milwaukee, and God forbid Milwaukee's like not hurt or gets injured or loses to somebody else, you might mess around and
the problem with, again, man, I said it for our team, I'll say it for Milwaukee, especially with the size, as you've said for the Wembyana that's coming out, the Wemby kid. He, like, once you have injuries and you get older, this isn't cynicism, this isn't wishing injury on people. It's just dealing with it, and Brett knows it now too. You hit 30, your body's different. You heal differently. You have to completely learn how to heal again. So a lot of these dudes that deal with injury, people just act like they want to get hurt or something. And I know there's a couple of you fucking Ben Simmons defenders that can be like, what about Ben Simmons and his back injury then? Shut up. That's what I say to that. But anyway, I deal with back injuries. I will feel not bad for that young man who's just dating supermodels and making $30 million a year as I deal with my back problems and hope my AC works. Fuck y'all. But anyway, I really just, I think Dame Dollar could be exactly what we wanted the last 4 years without the noise. And I say that just because Mikhail showed up. Because like what you're pointing out, what our friends have said in the umpteen chats we share, him alone ain't going to do it. But if Mikhail can maintain what he's been like, and if Cam Johnson can just keep being Cam Johnson, essentially, Ben Simmons being a shadow of himself, exactly what you said beginning of last year, right? That's all we need from you then. And I have no faith in Ben Simmons, guys. Like I just don't feel like trashing anybody as much as I can trash him as a fan. He's got a dope Jackie Robinson.
One, he did it all last year. So now that Ben Simmons proved his point, he doesn't need to trash him. See, you think you're slick. If this was last year, this whole pod would be about F. Ben Simmons.
No, because you said, but what if? And I was like, fuck you. Sorry, anyway, Brett's dad for cussing so much.
The point is, yes, with Dame Lillard, that's why I'm saying if you can get Dame Lillard, do it. Otherwise, I really think you should break it down because I don't think there's anybody else that you could bring in that's going to put us in that stratosphere of where we need to be, one. And two,
all right, let's have fun then. Because real quick, because we we're getting to the point of the pod to wrap up because I think we said everything that we can say on the subject, but we haven't had enough fun because usually when we're speculating on trades and building teams, me or you come up with some ridiculous out of nowhere, out of our ass bullshit fantasy that makes one of us go, I mean, fuck it if it could happen. So I figured I'll be that guy this time. Because say we trade for Dame, say it's that package: Cam Thomas, Joe Harris, Spencer Dinwiddie, 2-3 picks, shipped it off. We get Dame, and then everyone else we re-sign Cam Johnson. We got the Twins, Dame. We're going to the next season, and fuck Ben Simmons coming back because I don't believe in that. That's right, 100%. But anyway, what if we could just ship him off for another disgruntled, often injured superstar in the position that we need in power forward that's in the other conference that may be named Zion Williamson?
No way. Why would the Pelicans ever do that?
I didn't come up with my fantasy scenario to please fucking Pelicans fans, Brett. This ain't Pelican propaganda, Brett. That's propaganda, Brett.
But you know what's funny? I said Ben Simmons for Dame because my
why would they? Hold on. Zion's hurt. Hold on. At least Zion's hurt. Zion's as fat as Zion.
Can I'm gonna explain to you why? If you're Portland and you are trying to tank, and we give you Ben Simmons and a bunch of picks, 4 or 5 picks, whatever, and I think I still put in Cam Thomas or somebody just to make it work. That made sense for Portland because they could tank. They can potentially just sit Ben Simmons if he doesn't want to play, and they could deal with him later because they'll have the cap space to do it. Your New Orleans thing doesn't make sense because New Orleans is then banking on Ben Simmons to be better or to at least play when Zion's not playing. And that's why it doesn't make sense. Portland makes sense because they're a team that could afford to just let Ben Simmons sit.
I begin the whole premise with this doesn't make sense. Don't come at me with sense, Brett. I wasn't doing this to make sense. I wanted to fantasize about a lineup.
That's not even like a hot take. That's like a
made up bullshit. I framed it perfectly. I don't understand why you're mad at me. Like I said, I'm about to say some bullshit. And then when I said it, you're like, wow, bro, you just said some bullshit. I told you that's what I was about to say.
My bad. I didn't know when you said. My bad, bro. I thought it was like it's wacky, but it could make sense. That doesn't even make sense.
I never even claimed it would make sense.
You had a better chance of saying Ben Simmons for Ja.
You know what? Fuck it. If we're just doing this anyway, Ben Simmons for LeBron James. Send it. I want LeBron James in Brooklyn. Bring the king to Kings County.
Oh my god. Anyway, let's move on. The Suns also have a major.
Oh, sorry. They lost. Isn't that what we're celebrating?
That's what you're celebrating. They haven't
Oh,
made.
wait. Well, hold on. I'm pretty sure if you're going to be right about the whole "you never know what's going to happen" thing, we handed a ring to the Suns. Those picks are looking mighty fine. Those
Are
future.
they?
Oh,
Are they?
is KD going to be there by the time the last one's spent?
No, but like, okay, if you're waiting for 2029, yay! Like, what are we talking
I'm
about?
just saying. You say 2029,
Wait, talking about it's 2023 right now, right? Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure.
okay. And when we made and we're 10 years removed from the destruction trade, where and in those 10 years we've had more playoff years than not. And that was a decade of doom that we had to wait for. So so saying like, oh, 2029, it's so far away. Not really.
Yeah, but I'm saying like I'm not celebrating and doing backflips for a 2029 pick. Like that
I am considering that if we get Dame Lillard and we're contending for the foreseeable future, 2029 is exactly when I want to be like, hey man, maybe
if we no, you're right. If we get Dame Lillard, then I will mark my calendars for June of 2029, and I will.
No, 2029 is the Mavs pick.
I think no. If you
Yeah,
got
because the Mavs pick's the farthest one.
no, because if it's 4, remember it's every other year because you can't do consecutive years.
Oh, right.
So it'll be 2023, 2025, 2027, 2029. So we have both a 2029 Mavs and Suns pick.
And ours. Don't we have ours in 2029?
I would hope so. Jesus, I hope we're still not giving it to Houston by then.
I like how this new generation, like the young kids that are just like barely 20, are coming to the realization of how time works. Like, you traded him for a middle schooler. Yeah, bro. When he got in the league, what grade were you in? Like, what are you talking about? Like, some of these kids, like, I'm like, you just figured out what beer tastes like, and you just figured out how time works because you've been talking about shit about LeBron your whole life. Like, you don't realize, like, Kobe was an 18-year-old the first time I watched him play.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Yeah, man. Like some of these kids I just see online. I'm like, and like they're not kids. They're young. They're
I
young
was I
adults.
was in elementary school and LeBron got drafted. I was in
Bro,
fifth.
I was in high school. I was a freshman.
Yeah, I was in 5th grade. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
But
man.
anyway,
Like this is how time works. And mind you, it's bittersweet too as you get older, because like it's weird. I'm in the nexus point of generations, like J. Cole, right? Like I'm big bro to the younger ones. I'm little bro to the older ones, and you see people my age either still enjoying the game because it's always been a game, right? When you see the other ones that they're just like it was better when before. I'm like, no, you were younger. There was still some magic here.
right.
Like now you're like
There's
these
still some
fucking
glisten in your eyes, right?
these millionaires. They only care about money. I'm like, because Jordan.
Right. Mr. Republicans wear shoes too. Right. Mr. Put the flag over the Reebok sign. Right.
Bro, everything that makes him a legend. They're the first ones to spew why the 90s was better. And then they got the nerve to say, well, they only care about money and their stuff. I'm like, yo, like,
yeah, since the beginning of time, that's all people cared about was money. That's wars have been fought over money. Like, what are we talking?
Yeah, and not to mention, I'm pretty sure they all hated Dr. J because he signed a Converse deal. like I wasn't alive for it, but I read about how like fans were like, oh, he doesn't even care about the game. That's why he played in that league. And you know what I mean? Like it's like
Anyway,
it's just funny because it's cyclical, man.
Yeah, of course.
I'm old enough now that it's crazy how there's still people that hate on Steph Curry, but there's fans at the same time that only know him, like only know an NBA with him. They don't really remember Big Three Heat because you just be 20. You know, if you're 20 now, like Big Three Heat, you were just like starting to pay attention to the sport, probably.
All right, now you just made me feel old. Anyway, moving
on. Old.
The Suns, they do have a lot to go on.
Bro, when I think of the Suns, I still think of Charles Barkley. That's how old I am. I think of the Charles Barkley Suns. Lord, hey, why are you shaking your head? That dude's a mayor now.
That's true.
See, that's how old we are. I said that dude's a mayor. He saw the same highlights in my life. Saw in my head. He's like, oh yeah, that guy is a mayor now. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I don't know what they're gonna do. I think the Suns are in a much better position than the Lakers are, because I think if they want Kai, they could just do a DeAndre Ayton for Kyrie trade, and I think the Mavs would do that.
Really? I think that ain't happening. I don't think that's happening.
I think it would. You gotta remember. Isaiah Thomas is the working with the owner, and him and Kai are like this. So it could happen. Unless KD pounds the table and says absolutely not. Again, I don't know, but
I'm just saying.
they need to do. But my thing is, they need to do something, and this is probably the best move they can make. And then you can still trade Chris Paul for, just some rotation pieces. You know what I mean? Like, which is what they need.
I don't see Kyrie in a Suns jersey if KD's there. I just don't. I'll be if they do, I'll say wow, didn't see that coming. But I feel like there's more likely in this. I don't think it's likely at all, but I think it's more likely that we see Kai in a Lakers jersey than
No,
that.
I don't think the Lakers have. If I'm gonna say Phoenix is 50-50 because I really do think it just depends on if KD is adamant about not playing with him or not. And I don't know. If he's like, fine, whatever, if this is the best for the team, like, then I think they'd make the trade. And I think Dallas does it because at least they get something good in return. So for Phoenix, I would say 50-50. For the Lakers, I see it as a 0% chance. I just don't see how it gets done. In terms of returning to the Mavericks, I think that could work. So I guess we're just gonna talk about the Kyrie aspect of this right now. But I think they'll also have to make some moves to show that they could be good because obviously just him and Luka isn't by themselves isn't going to work. The two teams I would consider, and this is just me, this is Brett Carroll's opinion. This is not me talking to anybody. This is the two teams I would consider if I were him is Miami and Orlando. Like, I really think Miami makes a lot of sense. A lot of people say, oh, he can't fit in the Heat culture. Heat culture is staying in shape and playing hard when you're on the floor. Like, nobody's ever questioned his ability to stay in shape. Nobody's ever questioned his effort and willing.
Dude is annoyingly in shape.
Yeah, like when he's on the floor. The only issue is how many games is he going to miss because it's either been injury or some political stuff. Injuries he can't help. The political stuff, I think he knows Pat Riley ain't going for that crap. So, like, it doesn't matter if there's World War III outside. If tip off is at 7:30, you better be there, or else you're gonna have some serious issues. So I think the problem.
The irony of the Miami thing, because in reality, if it speaking as a job, it's Miami, guys. Like, if I was going to get paid $30 million somewhere with no state tax and it was Miami, where it's just TNA everywhere, you know what I mean? Like, go have fun, live your best life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the three W's are right there.
But you gotta think about the narrative too. You gotta think about the extra bullshit that'll come with it. And I think,
which is why I
think the looming specter of King LeBron, and you go to the Heat, it's LeBron, it's another LeBron team, like more than the Lakers even. The Heat are like,
I don't think that's part of it. I think
I'm saying, like, I'm not saying he would even think about this if he signed. I'm not saying that. I'm saying once he gets there, you're the comparison, the constant, your name comes up. Kind of like LeBron just can't escape Jordan comparisons. Even if he eats an In-N-Out burger, somebody's like, Jordan did it better. Like Kyrie gets that shit now. And he was just played in Brooklyn for 4 years. Like,
I mean, maybe I think it just makes sense because Jimmy
Butler, I don't think the media, like the media in Miami is a homer media, but that being a homer media, one of the biggest sticking points.
Well, I think if he goes to Miami, they're just going to be pressure to win because Jimmy Butler's proven he can get you to the finals by himself, right? So if you're
and is Jimmy Butler and Kyrie compatible?
Yeah, absolutely. Jimmy's even said on record, Kai's like one of the very few players he wishes he could play with. Like, again, I think people look at Heat culture, they don't understand what that is. Kyrie fits Heat culture. He's going to stay in shape. He's going to play hard. He's going to do it. I think he'll even play defense if Spoelstra really made him like, yo, bro, like, I need you to play defense more. He's shown that he can play defense.
I didn't say he can't play defense. I don't think
but my point is, if he's the type of player, like, if his turnstile defense is the reason why they're losing and they come in like, yo, bro, we need you to step up a little bit more, he'll step up. That's the point I'm making. That I don't think is the issue. I think it's just going to be the media market, the pressure to win, because they're in the finals again, right? So if you go there and they, God forbid, they don't even make another finals appearance, that's just going to be a detriment to his legacy, right? Which is why I think Orlando makes the most sense, because I think it'll just be the best thing for him spiritually, mentally, not in a big market, out of the media fanfare. There's not going to be that much pressure on him. He can just go out, ball out. he likes working with the younger guys and just help putting his arm around these guys. And they're nothing but a young team, both guards and Banchero, who went to Duke, so they'll click. And I think it'll be a perfect match for him in that regard. And then for a team wise, they won't be competing for championships right away. However, we've seen in sports, especially in the way sports works now, you get a young star and put a veteran superstar around him, you accelerate their development, right? We've seen this in the NFL with these quarterbacks. You give them a superstar wide receiver, now all of a sudden they're MVP caliber players. We've seen it in the NBA. Like, people have been lauding over Chris Paul's impact.
And to play devil's advocate to this scenario, he had that in Boston.
But yeah, I understand that. But to me, see, people forget. People always want to talk about the bad year of the second year. We always want to gloss over how good.
No, I'm just saying he had that in Boston. I'm not saying.
But I think Orlando's a better situation in Boston because, one, there isn't going to be that immediate pressure to win. Boston, remember, Boston
always has an immediate pressure to win.
Right.
I'll give them that. They're one of the few basketball franchises, besides, ironically, the Heat, because I'm old enough to remember they did not have this perception of we're competing for a title like this. They've kind of just cemented it this year in people's psyches because it wasn't always like this. But it was the Spurs, and it's understandable why they haven't been as good the last couple of years.
The Heat, the Lakers, and the Celtics. Those are
that's four franchises. So and like that's it. That's literally it.
And again, the point is, Orlando has the 5th pick in the draft this year. So again, you're going to a losing situation. All he has to do is get them to the playoffs, which I think he can do easily.
I will give Kyrie, if Kyrie just dropped him into Orlando,
and they have the cap space
so to play in, at least he's good enough to get them to a serious contending play in.
Exactly.
Like I can be critical of him as a team leader, as a fan of the Nets and yada yada yada, but the idea that you drop an elite, point guard like him, because that's the funny part about our arguments. Because some people act like I'm fucking not talking like they're supposed to be the greats of this era, right? But that's what I get mad at you sometimes. Like, are they the great? Are they great? Or are they not? Because you know what I mean. Like, where's this? That's how high I want to make it clear I'm holding him. And all I'm saying is, you drop him in Orlando, all of a sudden, the 6 through 10 seed just got a little bit more chippy, because already the Magic are one of those annoying, as Nets fans. Knicks fans might listen to this. Knicks and Sixers fans might listen to this and be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But as a Nets fan, we can't beat the Magic.
Yeah, they always beat us.
I don't know what it is. My whole life, I don't get it. We beat the Heat.
It's like, stop going to Disney World the night before the game.
Brooke Lopez. Jesus. Vucevic is busting your ass all nonstop. See, this is how scarred we are. We've gone through everything as Nets fans. We look at the Magic like, fuck.
No, but my point is, they can make the playoffs that first year, and that'll be great for them. And then again, Banchero is already a guy that's supposed to be a superstar. You put a guy like Kyrie around him, you might skyrocket his development. Again, we saw that in Boston. Jason Tatum will be the first to tell you, having a guy like Kyrie really helped me my first couple of years in the league. So that's the point I'm making, where he goes to a place like Orlando. Yes, you're.
Wait, hold on. Speaking of Tatum, we never brought up what he what he said that became a meme in this postseason.
What did he say that became?
Oh shit! When he was like, low key, I'm like the best player in the league, or whatever he said that right after the game.
Oh wow, I don't remember that.
Oh my god, go ahead.
Yeah, so
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, so him going to Orlando, you're sacrificing the immediate wins, and I get it. He's already 31, so I know he wants to be in a place that he's going to be competing every year. However, he's not 41; he's 31, right? There's still there's still meat left on the bone per se. I think they're not going to win anything in 2024, but I think as early as 2025, worst 2026, they can be a title contender, and he would be in the mix. And Banchero, if he becomes like a top 10 player in the league, they'll be right there. And I think that'll be fun.
I paraphrased wrong. He said, quote, "I'm humbly one of the best players in the world."
Well, I mean, technically, he's not lying.
I'm just saying, but that is not how the word humbly works. It's like,
I mean, yes, but technically that's not a lie. You're an NBA superstar. That literally means you're one of the best.
I'm actually one of the most humble people on the planet. No one's more humble than I am.
Nobody is more humble than I am.
I don't think you understand. It's kind of like arguing who's more mature.
Oh yeah, I love doing that.
I'm like one of the best people in the world. Are you?
Like humbly speaking, but
No, humbly speaking,
of
I'm
course,
the shit. So
of course. But yeah,
I'm sorry. That's why I was like, I don't want to make people think I was like completely shitting on him for that. I just think that's hilarious. I was just like,
no,
bro,
yeah, yeah.
can you at
But
least win before you say that? Like,
I mean, he's won a lot. He has the right to say it. But
I,
yeah,
and I
I
have one
think
more random player I wanted to ask you about just because
go
of
ahead.
shit talk. And this is random. This is not like a Celtic or somebody in our general division that because me and you kind of stick in our division when we talk shit. Um, PG-13, Paul George, like weren't the Clippers supposed to be good? I'm old enough to remember 5 years ago, like the hype, or
They just
4 years ago.
they just been snake bitten, bro. Like they just can't stay healthy. But
And Paul George is
Brandon Miller to the one of the draft picks. That's who he's compared to, Paul George. So again, if you're trading for that third pick in the draft, that might be a guy that you get. He's a Paul George esque player, 6'7", more of an old school off the ball type of player. Again, a lot of people comparing to Paul George. So that's somebody you got to consider as well. Brandon Miller, the pick will either be Scoot Henderson or Brandon Miller. Most likely Scoot Henderson if Charlotte doesn't trade the pick, but we've seen crazier things happen. So that's the thing. But yeah, if you're the Suns, there's been a lot of trade rumors with the Suns. Most of them involve Kai because again, I think that's the one that makes the most sense. They need a point guard. They could easily trade Ayton to Dallas. Um, I don't know. I think they have to consider it. They got to consider it because you have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. You can't just stay where you are. You got to upgrade this team. They need depth. They need a real point guard that can stay healthy.
I would, and I'm not being funny, I would explore like the Thunder or somewhere else before I go to Kai. Like I try to get a younger point
I don't
guard.
think the Thunder are gonna trade them anybody that they would want for who Chris
I'm
Paul.
just saying, like for all the rumors about Kai, it's one of those like it didn't work. You know, the like
I
Harden.
mean, all right.
It's like
So then Dame Lillard, if you want to do that, do the same trade. DeAndre Ayton and
oh,
somebody.
you know that. Thank you, because it was bugging me. I'm like, why is this not connecting? That's what my brain was trying to
But I
say.
think if you're Portland, I think you're trying to trade Dame Lillard to the East, though. So
No,
that's what I'm saying.
100%. But I'm saying like that. I would explore that just because that's a combination fans have said like, hey, you know, it'd be cool to see Dame and KD together. You know what I mean? Like that's just one of those.
But also to my earlier point about why you don't trade these guys during the season, you could have traded Kevin Durant to Portland this offseason, and you would have got a shit ton in return. You would have got that third pick in the draft. You got Sharp and Simmons, and you probably would have got a whole bunch of more
I
picks
don't think he got traded to Portland.
this offseason. Why
I
not?
don't because he would want Dame to stay there. Or he's like, no, I don't want to get traded there.
That's my point. That's my point. If they would have kept Kyrie,
Oh, my bad. I misunderstood you. I thought you meant
yeah, yeah,
trade
yeah.
him for Dame. My bad.
That's what I'm saying. If you would have
Derp. I just derped. I'm sorry.
yeah,
You did say
that's
it
the
right.
point.
You said it right. My brain was a Nets fan. I'm like, why would they give me Dame Lillard for this?
No. That's what I'm saying. You're getting a third pick in the draft, along as well as other picks, and then you're probably getting both Sharp and Simmons. So you have a nice young core to build around. You're trading KD out west anyway, and then
Real okay. Elephant
whatever.
in the room time. Ben Simmons, because it's weird. Like I just want to be clear. Like all the hate I've spewed, there's not many players in NBA history that have put up his stats that fell off in this type of way. Whether it's mental, physical, what the fuck ever, it is what it is. It's bad. So if it is physical, I want to do a part at least where I give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm just being a fan and emotional, yada yada yada, right? So if it is physical, and he can be, you know, a decent center in the league, because obviously he never took Kobe's advice and developed a jumper. Um, like what the fuck is happening? I'd have no idea who would even take him. Like Houston's like the only type of team in the league right now that would take the money on just to take the money on.
But that's the point I'm making. If you're and again, this is exactly why I said the Nets were silly to blow this team up in the middle of the season because
Oh my God, let it die. You said at the beginning of the pod you weren't going to do this.
I'm just saying these are all the decisions you now have to make that make it harder to do. So again, to me, you got to include Ben Simmons in the Dame Lillard trade because why is Ben Simmons on my team? Like
Well,
why?
no, I'm saying because I'm saying if again I'm playing devil's advocate here, and I think Brett knows this. Um, if we keep him, because no one's including him in these rumors. I'm just being clear. So that means we're keeping him. And if it is an injury and he doesn't need to be a jump shoot, he just needs to do the pick and roll shit, a
So how's that
glorified.
gonna work? Him and Claxton, how's that gonna work? There's no spacing. That's my point. You have to trade him. You have to trade him.
Garbage. Ben Simmons is so garbage.
And this is my point where you're kind of screwed either way because
Ben Simmons is the opposite of Jokic. Ben Simmons looks like he's supposed to be LeBron,
and he's not. And he's the. But that's the point where, again, it also goes down to even if you're breaking it down to the studs, do you then keep Ben Simmons? Because again, like I keep telling you, you're gonna have to attach some picks to get rid of him because nobody's just gonna take him off.
No, 100%. That's what I'm saying. We might if there is a scenario where we're keeping Ben Simmons next year, the best case scenario is getting Dame. Like, you know what I mean? Like, is having that score.
Oh no, that's the opposite. If I'm getting Dame, I'm throwing as many picks as I can attached to Ben. I'm getting him the hell off my team. I cannot have him on my team because now you need him. You know what I mean? Like now you need him. You cannot rely on Ben Simmons. And again, I don't think that works with him and Claxton. My thing is the only way I'm keeping him is if I break it down to the studs, and now I'm the team that could afford to just pay him to sit on the bench and look fly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's it. Like, if I'm trying to compete for anything, I have to move him because he makes it very hard to even build around whatever team that I'm using because he's way too much money. We can't get a young player in trades because the trade exemption scenario with him. And again, you can't rely on him.
Okay, so just to further throw in my point that nobody's including Ben in any Dame trade. This is from Clutch Points. Obviously, hit or miss articles from Clutch Points, but me and Brett do share Clutch Points articles, so might as well bring it up because like trade room, trade scenarios are just fans being fans anyway. Blazers get Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, Cam Thomas, Day'Ron Sharpe, Patty Mills, the 2023 first round pick. This is the 21st pick in this draft. 2025 first round pick via Phoenix, 2027 first round pick via Phoenix, and the 2029 first round pick swap.
Damn, that's a lot for Dame.
Yeah.
Shit. I mean, okay.
That's a lot. Okay. You're just like, yeah, do it, I guess. Like,
I mean, that you're putting
you
all
sounded like you just got like the bill tab. You're like, yeah, I'll get everybody shots. Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah, like who ordered the 1942? Like, who are you? Like, who did that? What jerk?
Which one of you monsters had 2 shots in 1942?
It's like what jerk did that? Like,
there's 2 shots in 1942, 2 Douces and a Henny shot. You monsters.
That's a lot. But again, the only reason why I'm okay with it is because you're getting rid of stuff that you're not going to use anyway, technically. Like,
you said stuff you're not going to use. Anyway.
No, seriously, but that's why again for me,
you just called people stuff. I just find that funny. I'm sorry.
You're not.
You're getting rid of stuff. Who left this old hoodie in here? Get this out of here.
No, seriously, it's
this old Australian hoodie.
So remember early in the year when we were thinking about doing the Miles Turner trade, I said, yo, throw Day'Ron Sharpe in there because he's more valuable to them than us. Like, we're not gonna play him, which we fucking didn't. And he could potentially start for them. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with the Portland Trailblazers trade, which is another reason why I'm okay with doing a Dame Lillard trade, because I don't think there's any scenario in which we give up anything of real value to us. You know what I mean? Like, if it's picks and a bunch of role players that we don't really care about anyway, fine. Again, my dream fantasy scenario is Ben Simmons and a bunch of picks and maybe Cam Thomas and Day'Ron Sharpe for Dame and Nurkic. Like, that's my fantasy dream scenario where it's like totally in our favor. It's like, yeah, give us Dame and Nurkic. We'll give you a bunch of guys that we don't want on our team anyway because Cam Thomas thinks he's Kobe and Day'Ron Sharpe doesn't know how to play without fouling somebody.
Cam Thomas does think Cam Thomas, he's the angriest looking basketball player. Like, I don't like, why are you so mad, bro? Like, life
ain't shit funny. You heard him say, shout out to Scoop B. You heard him say. But honestly, if I'm the Nets, seriously, my thing is I'm bringing it down to the studs. The only people I'm keeping is Nick Claxton and Day'Ron Sharpe. Like, those are the only 2 people. Everybody else could go.
Nick Claxton and Day'Ron Sharpe.
only because they're 22 and 21. They're bigs, and Lord knows we don't have bigs. So you keep those two. Everybody else can go.
No, if we're breaking it all down, it's Cam Thomas and Claxton.
No, absolutely not. I don't want
Whatever.
any
No.
part. He's another one of those, Sean Marks patented tweeners who's a point guard who plays shooting guard, who doesn't shoot the ball well enough to even be a shooting guard, who thinks he shoots the ball well enough to be a shooting guard, so he's going to keep shooting. Yeah, I don't want any part of that. Get rid of him. I could get picks for him. Only two players I'm keeping, Day'Ron Sharpe and Nick Claxton, because they're my two young bigs that I can at least build around. I'm gonna see if I can get Nick Claxton to be able to shoot so he can play power forward. And that way, at least I have my starting power forward and my starting center, and I'll have 5 years to build around because they're not even going to hit their prime for another 4 or 5 years. Yeah, that's what I want the Nets to do. If they do that, I'm happy, especially if that includes Mikal Bridges to Portland for the number 3 pick. So now I have Scoot Henderson, Nick Claxton, Day'Ron Sharpe to build around. Cool. You know what I mean? Like that's my dream scenario for what the Nets do next season or this offseason. And Day'Ron Sharpe, I don't think he's everything going to be great, but I don't need him to be great. I just need him to be a starting center. Nick Claxton, I still believe Nick Claxton could be great. I'm not banking on it, but I think he can be really good. He's proven that he wants to be better. That he's gotten better every year. He's proven that he wants to be great. I would challenge him. Like, well, it's not too long ago.
If our core four next year is Dame, Mikal, Cam Johnson, and Claxton, I feel good about making the playoffs in the East, and I feel like it's all up to coaching to make it work.
I agree, but
and
again,
Jacques
I'm going off the
Vaughn
premise
is on a short leash, if we're being honest.
Yeah, but honestly, so is Sean Marks. Like, I'm sorry, Sean Marks cannot sit here and stay here for 3-4 more years. And it's
no, yeah. If the Dame Lillard, short of what you said for the superstar era, the 7-11 era, right? Like, if it's a deep playoff run, cool. If we get swept first round again, Sean Marks, thank you for the time. Thank you for keeping us out of the gutter. I'm just being serious, bro. Like, we're nowhere near as bad as we were in 2015, 2016.
That's great. That's great.
Hold on. And I'm just saying, I know you don't want to just keep making the playoffs and saying, yeah, we made the playoffs. That's not good enough. I'm agreeing. And so just making the playoffs isn't good enough. We need a division banner. We need a conference conference finals appearance, period, Sean Marks. And mind you, I'm a Sean Marks defender. You're, and to be clear, Brett is not poo-pooing the whole era. He's saying, okay, we've hit the wall. Thank you for what you did. Goodbye. It happens in sports, just to be clear, because again, Brett, you've told me plenty, but people are going to come at you like, I can't believe you're not appreciative of what Sean Marks did. And Brett just has a year of me talking to him built up. So he's going to be appreciative of fucking what?
Right. You let 3 Hall of Famers go, bro. You got to go. I'm saying.
Yeah, just to be clear, Brett is here in the now in 2023. He doesn't need to go back to 2019. He's like, I appreciated him back in 2019.
Right.
Brett's because Brett is
it's June 10th, 2023. And as of June 10th, 2023, I think Sean Marks should have been fired in January. That's just me.
And Brett is just, playing lawyer because he knows if we get Dame and we're a 60-win team next year, he's not going to be like, fire Sean Marks.
Oh, yeah, no, of course. Right. But at the same, but my thing is,
how easy it is to get 16 wins in this current NBA?
I could have done
Brett off wax is the only time I'm going to do this. This mother right here had the nerve. I said, yo, Mikal's doing great. It's this is 3 weeks into it. He's averaging 27 and 7 and da-da-da-da. And you're like, well, this year there's more players averaging 20. So I'm like, this motherfucker.
That was a fact.
Nah, son. This is in between both of these Nets propagandas where he said, Charles, it's not easy to average 27 points per game in the NBA. Superstars do that. To 3 weeks later, it's so easy to average 27.
But also be fair. When I wasn't, because remember, I wasn't watching Nets games. So I was just seeing the stats. And I told you at that, I was like, hey, I'm giving him his props. He's playing really well. When I started watching the games again, and I'm saying, oh, we're not winning with this guy, I'm like, okay, these are empty calorie stats. And it's on par with the part of this has been a literally historic year for scoring, where there have been more people that score 40 points in the history of the NBA. I'm like, yeah, these are empty calorie stats. He's not a number one, nor do I think he's a number 2 player on a championship team. So with that being
Number
said,
two, I just want to say, to be fair to him, because I didn't think he could do what we saw him do. So I don't want to act like I'm some wizard that saw this coming. I wasn't. I'm just a fan, and I knew he was a good player, and he played great for my team last year for a long enough stretch. When Darren Williams played that well after the trade deadline, the whole world was hyped. So I'm just giving that dude the same respect. And Brett ain't wrong. I just disagree with him that it's empty because we would have been bad without him. So that's the difference. Like he's like, oh, we were like 1 or 2 games under 500 with him, and I'm saying like, okay, but like we would have been bad without him.
I
So
agree.
that's the problem with the stats because he's right.
But see, again, I think the problem with the Nets, and this is what I'm talking about, the crossroads they're in, they have a bunch of final pieces to contending teams, right? If you have which is why a team like Memphis might give us now with the John Morant situation, maybe not, but which is why they might be willing to give us multiple.
Imagine we blow it up, but we get Ja and like a shit ton of picks.
Hilarious. But what I'm saying is that's why a team like Memphis and Milwaukee and Miami might say, look, we'll give you as many picks as you want.
See, you're glossing over that, but the Nets history, like think about the Nets history. Ja is exactly the point guard we get for cheap, for no pieces, and we just have him. And then like next year, people are like, how the fuck did the Nets get John Morant?
And somehow we still don't win with him anyway, so it won't matter.
They traded Skip to my Lou for him? What the hell?
But yeah, but the point I'm making is Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, those are all like final pieces for contending teams. So though,
I know you did not just call Joe Harris the final piece for a contender, but okay.
No. If you're a team that needs like another shooter, yeah, like he could be the final piece. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, we selling right now. We doing marketing for our trades. Joe
Harris
is exactly what you need in a finals run.
No, what I'm saying is we have a bunch of guys that.
I love you, Joey Buckets. I just want to be clear.
We have a bunch of guys that if you're a contender, you should call the Nets because they have besides bigs. So for some reason we don't have bigs.
What the fuck's a big?
Right, we don't believe in that.
We play 5 small forwards.
We play 5 point guards, and you're going to deal with that.
No, we play 4 point guards and 1 3 at the 5.
At the 5, but yeah,
who's running the point,
right? our shortest guy is our center. That's how we play,
and he runs point.
We play chess up here, man. Y'all playing checkers, but we have a bunch of guys that if you're a contending team, you would throw a bunch of picks to get one of our guys. Even Spencer, like Spencer's a very valuable piece to a team that might need a point guard. You know what I mean? So like to me, it doesn't make sense to keep that team together because again, you're only going to win so many games with those pieces. Mikal Bridges to me is a really good piece. He could be for sure a third best player on a championship team, like we saw with the Suns. I don't know if he'll be a second best player on a championship team. We'll see if we get Dame Lillard, but he's definitely not a 1. And so therefore it doesn't make sense to build around him because in order to build around him, you're going to have to get a 1. And besides Dame Lillard, I don't know what 1 piece you're going to get. That's the problem. And again, if Mikal Bridges was 24, I would say, well, keep him. Let's see how good he is. He's 26. He's in his prime, which means he's not going to get much better than what he is already. You know what I mean? Again, hence why I'm saying Day'Ron Sharpe, not because I think he's great, but because he's 21. Like, geez, like let's give him more chances to grow. You know what I mean? Cam Thomas, I would say keep him, but his mindset tells me like, nah, I'm good on.
Unless Cam Thomas literally turns into what he thinks he is, then sure.
Yeah, but we'll see. The dude, no matter what, he's had like 3 different coaches, and like he's not like any of them because he swears that he doesn't need to be coached. And it's like,
I mean, he has some supporters that swear to God it's everybody else and not.
Yeah, again, don't want that guy on my team. Sorry.
No, and one last thing, because we should wrap this up because we're going to get off on many tangents now. we're entering the territory where we're completely speculating, and we're just going to start. People are going to be like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" I don't want D'Lo back. I saw that too. A couple of people.
Oh God, that's a rumor. No, absolutely not. But Sean Moore, I swear to God, if you bring D'Lo back.
Unless Kenny Atkinson's going to be our head coach next year.
No, God, no. Please, no.
Please. I like Kenny Atkinson. Kenny all the way, man.
Listen, let me say this too. People think I hate both Kenny Atkinson and Sean Marks. I am internally grateful to both of them. If I ever saw them at a bar, unless they're drinking 1942. Shots on me.
Who scarred you with 1942?
No, I'm just saying. It's just
Somebody.
unless they're
I'll get
drinking
you a drink. Yeah, I'll get you a drink, mama.
unless they're drinking Louis, unless they want Louis 13, like that's not my bank account. But if I ever saw them out, drinks on me because they did take a job that was nuclear reactive that nobody wanted, and they both stepped up and said, "We'll take on this challenge," and they did it. So let me be very, very clear. I'm eternally grateful to both of them. However, we're not at that stage anymore.
However,
there are coaches and there are GMs that can only take you so far. If you're trying to win a championship, which is what we're trying to do now, they're no longer in the process. I'm sorry. Just like
where's David Griffin?
Huh?
I said, where's David Griffin?
Right. But just like Brent Brown, he was great for Philly when they were going through the process, right? And they gave him a chance to try to win with that team as they should. He couldn't do it, and they had to get rid of him. Now, granted, they haven't won anyway, but the point of what matter is there's certain guys that can only take you to certain levels, and that's what those guys are. So when I say I don't want them here or I don't want them back, my goal is to win a championship. I need somebody that, especially as a GM, I need somebody that can not only build that contender, but then get us there to win a championship. Same with the coach. I need a coach that not only going to coach me up to be a contender again, but then deliver the championship. That's all. So let me be very clear. I do not hate Kenny Atkinson. I do not hate Sean Marks. I'm internally grateful for them. Again, if I ever see them, dinner on me, unless you're getting some crazy shit that's about out my budget, then
what happened this weekend?
Hey, listen, brother need a job, boy. I can't, you know what I mean? I can't be paying for somebody else's dinner. I don't even know what I'm about to eat for dinner. You know what I mean? Like, so with that being said, you can find me at Denver for Bernie. NEVA _4 BRETT _ ME on Instagram and Twitter.
Not the Chuck D on all the socials. We're at www.thedope.blog, the dope blog, all one word on Twitter, the _dope blog on IG. And yeah.
And because you're watching this on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. And join us next time as we continue to discuss other people's excellence.
Your
deuces.